passionate about this. And a couple of reasons. First of all, I was in Wellsford on Wednesday with the Right Honourable Winston Peters, and one of the questions from the floor was, what is New Zealand First going to do to keep Salisbury School open? And Wellsford, because the conditions under which parents with special needs children are having to fight for their children's rights to a free and safe education in New Zealand is across the country. Right? So I want to say that first of all, so that you understand that all the way in Wellsford you are acknowledged, you are remembered, people are watching what happens here. And I first became involved in the Salisbury conversation because an amazing parent who is on your board here, and let's just be clear, this is the only elected parent board of a special residential school in the whole of New Zealand. We talk about Westbridge and we talk about Hallswell. I'm the chairman of the board of Maharangi College. The reason why their numbers are low is you can't get kids in them. We send children, we constantly send referrals to those schools to try and get students who need the support of Westbridge or of Hallswell or of Salisbury, and we cannot get those students in. For the Minister to stand up in Parliament and manipulate the truth to suggest that Phil and his wife and his daughter didn't spend 2 years trying to get into Salisbury, but spent 2 years trying to get into IWS, and somehow that is okay. No, that's how I end up getting thrown out of Parliament. For her to stand and decide that it is appropriate for a parental body or for parents with high needs students to have to spend 2 years fighting the system to get the right support for their child, it stuns me that she stands and thinks that that's appropriate. It stuns me that the member for this area believes that that's appropriate. It is not appropriate. No parent should have to fight for 2 years to get support for the child. If it needed surgery, would we accept it? If it was a child that needed an operation so that it could actually perform at its peak, at its best abilities for the rest of its life, would we accept that it had to fight for 2 years to get that operation? No. We would not. So why is it that when it comes down to intellectual disability or autism or anything like that, why is it that you parents have to do it? What is that about? It shows an amazing lack of understanding and a lack of comprehension. Catherine, and we have to acknowledge the Honourable Judith Collins actually, because it was the only way that Catherine's inquiry got through the select committee was the fact that Judith Collins cast her vote with the opposition members of that select committee so that we could have that inquiry. And the inquiry hasn't finished. It's been put on hold because there's now some education amendment bill going through with some other horrible stuff from this government with regard to education. But what Catherine is absolutely right. Submission after submission after submission told us that the IWS is not working. It told us that children with special needs inside our schools are being failed on almost every level. The whole system is broken. But Salisbury's not broken. It's it is deliberately being destroyed for a philosophical purpose. Alright? Yes. Because you cannot say that when you set a nominal roll with a sinking lid, that you're not cutting the roll. You cannot argue that because the government has set a sinking lid and therefore fewer students will come in, how can you argue that it's because there's students that don't want to come in? Katrina Casey, for example, was in the papers, I think it was 2 years ago, when we first started this massive conversation, saying that not a single child had been denied entry into Salisbury School. An absolute fabrication of the truth, or a manipulation of words similar to what Heke Parata did inside the House. When you create a doorway, which is the IWS committees, and so people can't get through the doorway to even be declined into Salisbury. Right? That's the manipulation of words that's going on at the moment. And it's a philosophical stand. My problem is, it's hypocrisy. So, on one hand, we've heard charter schools before, we've got choice, for people in education so that there are private providers who can make a whole lot of profit off public money under the name of choice in charter schools. We've got Auckland Girls Grammar, we've got Westlake Girls. Apparently it's okay for able-bodied girls to actually have single-sex education. So again, why is it that special needs girls can't have that choice, that option of a single-sex education? Of hypocrisy and manipulation of the truth that no wonder the parents are frustrated and no wonder we're frustrated. The best we can do is actually make sure that through televisation, through meetings like this, through continuing to actually badger on about this, that the government sees that this could cost them both. It's the only way we can do it. It's the only way this is going to be turned back. I was lucky enough to come here last year and actually be part of the school, be in a classroom with what are the most amazing teaching fraternity that I've ever seen. And they knew the young people they were working with. They knew the young people they were working with, they knew them inside and out. They knew what was going to actually push their buttons, so they were able to continue the learning and the education that was going on by fully knowing their students. Yes. I can guarantee you, and again, Mahariri College, we have a special needs unit. It's the best of both worlds for those that actually participated in it. But you cannot put a student with the high level of needs that I saw in those classrooms at the back of a room with 30 other students and put a teacher aide in there and then say that actually there's education and learning going on. We're preaching to the converted, but how do we stop it? We stop it by making sure that we don't accept the stuff that's being told to us. We don't allow the manipulation of words. We continue to put the facts forward. A sinking lid is a sinking lid. Take away the sinking lid would be my challenge, Mr. Smith then. Take away the sinking lid, let parents apply directly to Salisbury, and let's see how the roll goes.